Whew. It's a cold one this morning. -6, they say. Celsius, that is. All right, well, welcome back to the 100th episode of the Little by Little project here at Twin Stick Garage. I have been killing myself for over 100 Saturdays to get the truck to where it is now. And I had promised in earlier episodes that I was going to get this thing into primer and paint. And by golly, that's what's going to happen today. All right, it's still early. Twin Sticks needs his coffee. So, as you can see from the last episode, there has been a bit of a change here in the shop. I've actually broken my rule of only working on Saturdays, and I've been coming out here in the evenings to get a little bit done each evening, just because Mother Nature's being kind of cruel here and probably only giving me this weekend and likely next weekend, and then it's going to be full-on winter out there. They're calling for a bunch of snow and really cold temperatures. Now, you're probably saying, well, Mark, you got a space heater up there. You're inside a shop. It's okay. True, but however, when I have the shop door open and I've got these fans exhausting all of the paint fumes, I'm going to be pulling cold air, outside air from the outside of the shop. So it is going to be pretty fresh in here. And paint does have a temperature range. It's got to be like 15 to 20 Celsius. So I'm going to have the tube heater just to blast and to try and keep the ambient at least in that range so the paint will actually stick to the truck. So it's a full-on race to the finish here. Now, I did promise that I was going to get the truck painted by the 100th episode, so I might have to call this 100th episode part 1, and then next Saturday will be part 2. And originally, as I mentioned last week, I was going to just paint the roof caps separately and then mask those off, and then the next weekend do the rest of the truck. Now, that would have been convenient. That would have probably been the better way to do this, but since I've run out of time here, I'm going to have to just do it all at once. So I got to finish masking it off. I'm going to put a coat of etch primer on all the metal, which will be easy because obviously those roof caps are fiberglass. Don't need to worry about etch up there. But then I'm going to try and put down 2 coats of 2K high build primer. And what I'm going to do is see what it's actually like to paint the whole truck at the same time. So I'll start up with the roof caps and then work my way around the back and then around the front and then all the way forward. And you've probably also noticed that I've got the hood tilted forward. And I'm going to have to leave it like that because I'll put my little wood platform on those support bars so I can actually get up and try and paint the whole truck. So I'll see what it's actually like painting the whole thing at once today with the 2K primer. I think it'll work okay. I've been trying to kind of play it out in my brain, and I think it's going to work. I'm just going to have to be very careful about hose placement so I don't, when I'm painting up top with a second coat, I don't drag the hose along the side of the truck. Then you'll also notice that I've been doing, as I mentioned, some work here in the evenings. I hung some more Tyvek. I still got a little more work to do on the front of the shop here. Now, it's not like there's going to be overspray way up high, but I like the Tyvek for a couple reasons. I mean, that's my hanging point, is the conduit. But when I hang that there, it's covering up all the existing dust that's already on the wall panels. It's obviously going to protect all of my stuff on the shelves. And then I find when I have the Tyvek here with the LED lights, it actually gets brighter because it's the lights reflecting off that bright white new wall that I've got set up. And so it'll help manage the dust a little bit better. I haven't quite figured out how I'm going to wet the floor because now my garden hoses are frozen solid. So I might have to just bring some water in and I guess maybe a sprayer, spray it down just to try and keep the dust down. But it's going to happen. It's going to get there. You'll probably also notice that in my evenings since the last episode, I did mask off the hood. And then I've been doing a little bit of painting. I actually got the couple more cans of that rock guard that I used on the fenders, and I did the whole inside of the hood. which actually turned out really nice. So that's done. And then I thought, well, while there's no blue paint on the truck, I might as well do some touch-ups. So I redid the frame, some stuff around the engine, the grills, or not the grill surround, the radiator surround and the radiator top tank. I did some more painting on the frame. And now that that's dry, I'll be able to drape the plastic over top of it and cover up the rest of the truck. So still a little bit more plasticking or covering, taping to do. I did repaint all the door frames, gloss black. Now I'm trying to, I started masking the inside of the door sill, or was it the door sill or the frame? And I thought, okay, it'd be nice to have it, keep those aluminum color, keep those silver, because it would contrast against the blue paint nicely. But then I got taping all the way around to here, and then it becomes difficult because you need to decide, are you gonna actually continue with it all the way up? I mean, I guess I could try and get tape in there, but then there's still some old paint that I couldn't quite reach, and then you'd have to tape the ring and not the hinge. So I kind of just went, you know what? It's just not going to happen. I'll paint the whole thing. So I'm actually going to take that tape off of there. And a lot of people are probably typing, no, you should. It looks better with it taped. And I don't think it's going to look good. I think it would look better with blue paint in there and just a cleaner look. I suppose if I wanted to down the road, I could sand it all off and just polish out the ring. That's the other thing, is I'm going to have to eventually polish out the hood surround as well, but problem for another day. I got to get this thing into paint. So with that, I'm going to take a breath, a couple more gulps of coffee, and get going on plasticking the last few spots. So what I like to do is sandwich the plastic. And what I mean by that is I put Gorilla Tape on the back side of the edge because it's nice and wide. And in this case, I get double benefit because it blocks these holes from blue overspray going into the engine compartment. So that's kind of your tape edge. And then I put the plastic about halfway across that. And then I sandwich it with a layer of masking tape. That way it's really kind of grabbed and it can't accidentally blow forward. Because what I learned on Snowman is if you don't take the time on these blind edges to put the plastic and make sure it's held in place, if you go to blow out the shop or you get a big draft of wind, your plastic can move. And that's never a good time when you're painting. So you want to take the time to actually make sure that your plastic is tacked down properly. So now what I'll do is I'll put the platform up there and I'm going to strap it down. The missus, when I was demonstrating being able to paint from my Graz Gantry here, she was looking at this going, oh, that's kind of sketchy, Mark. And I'm like, yeah, it is. So what I ended up doing was strapping down my platform so at least my floor is not going to move. And then I did the same thing in the middle here, strap that down. I cut out a piece of plywood to fit in there, so that's nice and solid. And then I'll do the same with the little platform that I'm going to put up on those support bars. I'll strap that down so it doesn't tip. Safety first. I gotta remember the old saying. Old Twin Sticks is starting to worry about the clock. So I'm starting to rush, but when you start to rush, you end up mucking it up and having to go back and redo it anyway. Like the old saying goes, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. It's just this kind of stuff takes so much time. That's why I wish I had more Saturdays to get this stuff done. But it's getting exciting though, I have to say. I mean, all I really have to do now is a little more taping, a little more plastic, and then And then I gotta wipe the entire truck down. Make sure I have as much dust and other crap off of there. I've just like you guys are watching this on YouTube, there's a fellow that I really enjoy watching. His name's Brian. He has a really successful YouTube channel called Paint Society. And I find that Brian is just an excellent teacher. He was the one, after watching his videos, that gave me enough confidence to actually paint Project Snowman. And so I've been watching videos all week of him doing base clear and painting vehicles in garages. And one of the biggest things you can do is just get it as clean as you can and respect the time between sprays and just, you know, follow the process and you'll get a decent paint job. There. Ah, mint. Well, I guess when you're gonna do an entire semi truck, you got to get yourself more Gorilla Tape than you think you need. So I've run out, and I'm also running out of time to get 3 coats of primer down on this truck. So I had to go through my toolbox, and all I got left is aluminum foil tape, but it's working. So, okay. Now the reason I wanted to mask this is I want it to stay the black color. I don't want to have blue overspray on it. So you always got to think, where don't I want paint when you're masking? So same idea, just tape it from behind, and then I just cut about a ½ an inch away from the edge. So there's room for the other layer of tape to sandwich it. Now, one of the good finds on Amazon was this paper that already has the tape on it. It's a good time saver because you can just quickly put it into place and then stick her down. So, boy, people think masking a car is a lot of work. Try a Peterbilt on. It'll make you grateful for when all you have to do is a car. Oh, home stretch. Getting excited now. I don't want to get that Montana Big Sky paint on these beautiful wheels. Something like that. Nice. Just noticed that my plastic wrap on the tanks is taking a bit of abuse from all the work when I did the big hole conversion. So we'll just patch up those holes so no blue paint goes through and paints those beautiful tanks. Oh man, the one nice thing I guess is at least once I get rolling on primer, I don't have to do any of this crap again. So next week can just be straight up base clear. There, Tyvek, not just for covering walls, but for covering Pete's too. All right, what's left, Mark? You gotta be getting close. I guess I gotta do Tyvek on both sides of the shop door. I gotta do a little more Tyvek on the shop door, and then I'm probably ready to wipe it all down. And then, yeah, start priming. Been a long time coming, 100 episodes, but we'll get there, little by little. All right, Hillbilly paint booth in full effect. So now I'm just gonna blow out as much dust as I can. All right, I'll start at the back, Mark. And then after that, I'll wipe the truck down with wax and grease remover, and then I can mix up some primer. Sweet. Okay, time to wipe this thing down. So, got one of these little pressure tanks. You can just pick them up on Amazon. And I'll fill it right up with this wax and grease remover. Not like there'd be a lot of wax left on the truck, but it's good to clean it all down, wipe it down. Oh man, Twin Sticks is struggling today. So the cheap sprayer that I got off Amazon, the piston was seized. So when I tried to really reef on it, I broke the rod. So that thing is junk. Then I went to get another spray bottle from inside, and then that doesn't spray. So then I went in and stole the missus spritzer for her flowers. So don't tell her. Okay, where were we? Let's get up there and start wiping this thing down. Okay. There we go. So when you're wiping a vehicle down, what I learned from Brian at Paint Society is you want to let this stuff pool. Don't wipe it off right away. Get it good and wet. And then what it's going to do is it's going to float up all the dirt and dust. So just give it a second, let it do its thing, and then wipe it down. And don't wipe in circles and move everything all around. You just kind of wipe in one direction and pick up all the crap, all the impurities, all the stuff left over from sanding. Something like that. That looks pretty good, actually. Beautiful. All right. Again, give it a second. Let it float all that crap up. Let it lift. That's one thing Twin Sticks isn't very good at is waiting. He's a pretty impatient feller most of the times. I don't know if you can see it in the camera there, but there's little specks that have been floated up. And watch this. Takes them right off. So this is really a good step to get all of that last little bit of dirt, dust, and whatever else is sitting on. Yeah, you can see the little bits of grit in these two rows, and they're gone over here. So it's a really worthwhile effort. Again, the cleaner you get it, the better the paint job's gonna be. I like that guy that commented in one of my earlier videos, oh, Twin Sticks is just milking the painting. Yeah, milking it. Been killing myself every Saturday on this thing. That's just how long it takes, son. That's just how long it takes when you're doing things all by your onesies and you want to try and do them right. Okay, ready to mix up some primer. So as I was mentioning, the first step in this painting process is going to be etching primer, etch primer. So the idea here is do the first stage of this mighty paint job 100 episodes later. So the first thing I'm going to do is put down etching primer. And the logic here is this is a primer. I'm just going to put a light coat on, but it's going to bite into the bare aluminum because I've sanded down this truck so much, it's almost all bare aluminum. And it'll stick to the bare aluminum, and then the high build 2K primer can go on top of that and stick to the etch primer. So it kind of needs to go in stages. If you just go ahead and put the 2K on, it may or may not stick to the bare metal. And the amount of effort I put into this thing, I don't want to stop now. So this stuff mixes up 2-to-1 with a 3001 primer activator. Now, there's a lot of different ways to do this. There's the right way and there's Twin Sticks way. So you can go, if you're gonna do 2-to-1, you can go to the 2-to-1 thing here, and then you go pick the biggest number. So you could fill up to the 5 there with the primer, and then you could fill up to the 5 with the reducer, and that would be 2 to 1. But what I do is I just go to the 1 to 1, and I say, okay, what's the biggest number there? 6, because I want to use as much of the jug as I can. So the 1 to 1 is just equal chunks, equal ratios. So if I got to do, what was it, 2 to 1? So I'll do 4 of the primer and then 2 more to the 6 of the reducer. So that'll be 2 to 1, and I can use up the whole cup. So again, always more than one way to skin a cat. Fill the 4 on the 1 to 1. There's the 4, and then fill it up to the 6. And now you got a nice full cup of mixed up primer. Done. Now, paint gun. So I got a vapor paint gun, 2.3 mil, nice big nozzle. I did that for the heavy primer. You don't really need such a big nozzle for the etch. But I picked this up at Princess Auto. Whenever they go on sale, I usually try and buy 3 or 4 of these guns. Now, another tip, I usually just take the gun apart or out of the box, and away I go and I start painting. But one of the tips that Brian, Paint Society, had is to give a little spritz. He says sometimes they put oils and stuff on in the guns. So he said, give it a little spritz of this Naked Gun spray gun paint remover, just to get any oil or nonsense out of there. There, something like that. Now, the way I like to do it, there's no air here, but if there was, I would open that all the way max for airflow. Fan, I like to go all the way open and then just tighten it up a little. And then with the fluid, is you push the trigger as far as it goes. You back this guy out, and then you start turning it in just until it hits. And that's full fluid. You want to get this gun maxed out and give it all that she has. Oh, Mark, you idiot. You didn't put your regulator on yet. Oh, I'm trying to rush today, folks. That's okay, that'll just go on like this. What I did earlier today was I put a water, what do you call this? A water separator on there as well, and then of course my M fitting. This has been about 5 years in the making to finally put something down that isn't the old crusty 40-year-old paint on this Peterbilt. So 100 episodes, folks. Here you go. Let's put some paint down. Or primer, I guess you'd say. I like to shoot about 25 degrees or 25 PSI. So you can push with your gun, you can pull the trigger, but don't pull it all the way, and that'll show you what your air pressure is. Now this is fascinating to me that they would have an air gauge that goes all the way to 180, when all you really need is 25. So you just turn the regulator up. We'll go up to about 25, and then lock her in. All right, now the nice thing about white Tyvek is it's a great practice panel. It's a little wide here. Maybe it's too much pressure. We'll back it off a bit. It's a little too tall, and it's not even all the way through. Yeah, that's looking a little better. We'll maybe go down a touch more. Oh, that's looking good. That's looking decent. Not bad for a cheap gun. Okay, let's do some painting. Drum roll, please. Da -da 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 -da. Oh, beauty. No, it's still doing that gap in the middle. What the hell? Yeah, that's going to be difficult. I'm going to get that sorted. No, that's painfully awful. It's gonna leave a tiger stripe at the top there. Huh. Maybe I'll try a different gun. All right, I'm just gonna swap to another gun. There might be something wrong with this guy from the factory. Oh no, that's a little better. Still kind of doesn't it though? Yeah, there we go. Yeah, okay, let's roll. Oh, I can just hear my buddy Dale ringing in my head. Light coat, Mark. Etching primer is a light coat. So you're gonna have to sand down. Okay. You're not painting single stage, Mark. Just a light coat. There. Whew. Not my best work, but it's a good start, I guess. Can only improve from there, right? Oh, man, I'm not happy with the gun. It is not getting her done. So, old Twin Sticks is a little bit excited and in a little bit of a hurry, which are two just corrosive feelings when you got when you're trying to paint. So I got to mellow out a little bit. And one thing I realized I didn't do was I didn't filter the first round of paint there, and it reminded me when a few solids fell out when I poured the second half of the can. So you always want to filter your paint or your primer, and I think I just need to slow down and get into a bit of a groove. I haven't painted, well, since last year, since I painted the snowman trailer, so I'm a little out of practice, but it's a good thing I'm doing primer first, because again, I'm gonna have to sand all the primer before I ever put the paint down, but it's probably a good thing I got to get my sea legs back. It's not working good. Yeah, it sure doesn't take long. After all the hundreds of hours of sanding and body work, it takes like 15 minutes to go around the truck. Like I always say, painting is the funnest, quickest part. I mean, there's not much to it. I mean, obviously there's some skill to it and practice and training and all that. I didn't mean that. I just meant there's not much when it comes to the time to lay it down. But that gun is just giving me all kinds of trouble. You can just see that it comes out heavy. So what I try and do is go up 50% and then get the light parts in between. But yeah, usually I'm pretty happy with those guns. I don't know if there's a bad batch or what, but anyway, I guess I'll let that dry and then start to prep for the high build. All right, I think we're golden. Nice.
Good. Alright, so now I gotta go up high and start on the roof cap. Make sure my hose is completely out of the way. And up I go. Alright. Oh wait, put the hose around my back, over my shoulder, so it doesn't fall into my work. And move the step as close as I can without having it fall off. Just back a bit. Doesn't work too bad. There. Yeah, boy. Oh man, I am happy with that. 100 Saturdays to get it to this point. Little by little is all one color. Oh, what a treat. Good old Princess Auto Gun finally cleaned itself out. Oh yeah. Oh, that's worthy of a celebration. Oh yeah. Oh, that's awesome. So happy. Okay, let that sit for, I don't know, I'm supposed to let her sit for about 20 minutes. You can see the haze. If I put my mask back on, let it sit for about 20 minutes and let it gas off. And then I'll go again with a second round. Now, if you noticed in the time lapse, I kind of came up with an innovation to have multiple cups kind of pre-poured. And that really worked well because trying to keep a wet edge. As I keep moving around, the gun, empties out. It took about, I guess it took 4 or 5. It took 5 of these cups to go all the way around the truck. So having 5 cups already pre-poured, pre-mixed, it's quick. You come back, you top your gun up, you have a sip of Coors, and you go back and you keep painting. So yeah, that's really cool. I'm so happy. I didn't think I was going to get this done today, but it should be too much fun. I mean, I basically just got to do what I just did one more time and go all the way around. So yeah, that's really looking good. I mean, primer isn't paint. It's not too hard to make primer look good, but old Twin Sticks is still pretty happy. Thanks again for following along for 100 episodes of Old Twin Sticks, starting out in a field where he found the truck and then dragging it home and sitting out in the snow, freezing his tail off all winter, to finally get it after 100 Saturdays to get it to this point. I'm so happy. So yeah, with that, I'm going to call it an episode. I'm going to call it a day. See you next week, where we put down some Big Sky, Montana, metallic blue. Oh, it's gonna be great. So, like I